Hey everybody, welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm Ted. We're having coffee. No big whoop. Everybody, I want a big announcement to my special guest today, Matt Munson.
Matt Munson here. Hi.
Matt, how you doing, Matt? How you doing?
I'm super good, Ted. Thank you for having me here today. I'm super excited.
This is the big thing, everybody. I know people are saying, "Who is Matt Munson?"
I ask myself that every day.
I do too. My thing is, I know Matt. I'll tell you what. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Matt. I met Matt Munson years ago. I would say almost 20.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Possibly 20 years ago, from a friend, Tim Arp, who's a great builder, fellow fabricator.
Grim Tim,
the great Grim Tim. We hung out, we got to know each other, and we became friends, but we kind of would distant, back and forth, and then I'd lose track of you.
Yeah.
You'd come back in my life, and I didn't meet Matt again until some years later. He said, "Hey, Ted, I want to come over and interview you for a YouTube thing." I was like, "What? YouTube?"
It's like, what's this YouTube?
What's this YouTube thing? And that goes to show you how long ago that was.
Yeah, good times.
Good time. So, Matt, I just recently discovered, we've been friends for a while. We go out socially.
Yeah.
Matt also falls in the maker builder world. And I just recently discovered that Matt Munson also worked in the movie industry.
I do. I'm in and out.
So, Matt, can you not quickly, take your time, tell me your story.
About working in the film industry?
And being a maker. When did you get started?
Oh, gosh. Being a maker, honestly, as far back as I can remember. And it all started, I would take apart toys when I got toys as presents or something, because I wanted to learn how they worked.
Right.
And then I wanted to see if I could put them back together. And I sort of cut my teeth on building model kits, ones you could get at the drugstore or whatever. I built little cars and airplanes and boats, and I built a couple of balsa wood airplanes. And I just loved making stuff with my hands. An interesting story is a setup. When I was
it's where's this going?
When I was younger, I of course saw Star Wars in the theaters, and one of the things really resonated with me was R2-D2.
Now, is this the original Star Wars?
The original one, the real one,
Yes,
the real one.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah, and I was new to America. My family had just moved here from New Zealand. I went to theater, saw Star Wars, and I was blown away.
Wait,
Question.
Again, I've known Matt for so long. You're from New Zealand?
I'm a New Zealand citizen.
And how old were you when you moved out?
I was about 7.
You were 7 years old.
Yeah, and I've lived here for a long time, but I go back and forth. I've lived in other countries my adult life. I leave the country for a year, I come back.
So when did your parents move from New Zealand to America?
My father was starting an air freight empire. And we had an office in New Zealand, there's one in Australia, and he wanted to open one in Chicago and then Los Angeles, so he moved to America.
Got it. So
Who cares?
Back to you.
Right? Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Right? So I saw this R2-D2, and I was like, what is that? I want one. and it's funny, too, because large chunks of my life are structured around a childhood dream. When I was younger, something happened. I was like, one day I want to have that. And R2-D2 was the first one. I just fell in love with the design of the guy, the character of R2-D2, and I was like, I want one. And so a lot of the stuff I did in my earlier life, maker-wise, was skill acquisition, because I wanted to get to a point where I could build my own R2-D2.
Here. It's the more you build, the better you get.
Yeah. And so, jumping around a little bit, same thing happened when I saw the Michael Keaton Batman movie.
Oh, okay. That moved me as well.
Yeah, I remember very vividly, I actually snuck into another movie just to see the trailer for the Batman movie. This was before the internet, before, if you want...
Guys, there was things before there was no internet.
It was weird. It was bananas. so we snuck into a movie theater just to see the trailer. And the very first shot of the trailer is the turbine on the Batmobile and there's flames shooting out. And just like with R2-D2, I saw that and I was like, I gotta have one of those. I gotta have a Batmobile. And so...
it's funny. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I saw Batman 2. It was 89 when it came out?
Yep.
I think it was. Came out in 89. I saw it, loved it. I saw pictures. I built a Batman costume on the Michael Keaton Batman before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Had it all done. Saw it, loved it. It's one of those films. Have you seen it lately?
Oh, it's terrible. No disrespect.
No disrespect, guys. So many people love the first one. I watched it just recently, and it has a charm to it of the time. I love the crazy Gotham, very cartoony.
Yeah.
The model work is not the greatest, but it's
It's almost unwatchable.
It's bad, but it's good at the same time.
Yeah, and please.
It doesn't hold up. Anyway,
I love it.
I digress.
That's the most generous way to. It doesn't hold up, man. But and even like, gosh, like Jack Nicholson's performance as the Joker. Everyone's like, he is the Joker, and I'm like, you've clearly never read the comic books. And watching the movie today, like it's obvious Tim Burton never read the comics, nor did Sam Hamm, who wrote the original script. Like they probably just said, okay, so there's this guy, and he's got a thing and ears and gadgets. That's pretty much all you need to know. Go write a script.
But really quickly, I just want to say in defense, Michael Keaton is still one of my favorite Batmans.
Interesting. Well,
I think Keaton was crazy. Okay, anyway.
The Michael Keaton Batmobile.
Yes.
Is still my favorite Batmobile.
Mine too.
So along the way, I also was a fan of filmmaking. So even back when I was like, 8 or 9 years old, I found my dad's 8mm camera, and I don't mean like 8mm video.
No,
I mean film.
Film,
like, film stock.
You had to load it and flip the reel around.
Yeah. I had to take it to Osco Drug to get it developed. So I made all these little stop motion films with my Star Wars action figures when I was a kid, and so I always had this passion for filmmaking. And when I got out of high school. I got a job on my first feature film.
And that was?
It was a film written by Lou Diamond Phillips. Name drop, oops. It was called Ambition. And it was about a writer who went down a path of darkness. And it was a great experience. Got to meet some great people. Got to work with Clancy Brown, who played the Kurgan.
Oh, Clancy Brown.
Yeah, in the Highlander movie. And he was a great dude. Lou Diamond Phillips was a great dude, very friendly, very good. Just met a bunch of great people and sort of had the whole filmmaking experience from start to finish.
What did you do for them?
I was a production assistant, a PA.
So there was no making in this film?
No, not at all. But I'll tell you what, guys. It was the best experience because it made me realize filmmaking was not for me. And what I mean by that is, like, I worked on that, and right away I went to work on another feature film called Frankenstein: The College Years. And after those, I did those back to back, and I realized that, like, this is not going to be what I really want. Is like a predictable income. I want a solid job. I want a regular working hours. And the film industry
not in the Hollywood guys.
It just doesn't offer that. That's not how it works. The hours can be crazy, and then you can go 6 months without working, or you might never work again. And I feel very fortunate in hindsight that I learned that very quickly. And so then I went to college and I got a couple degrees and got a job in software development. And what's great about it is.
Okay.
What's great about having an actual career, I didn't mean that, sorry, about having a career where it has a dependable income,
right,
is what it allows me to do is I can work my software job for a couple years, and save up a bunch of money, and then make my own film.
Was that your plan?
That was sort of my plan. Like, I just like working in software and making money. Like, having an income is awesome.
It is. It took a while for me as well.
Yeah, and I still, like, I'm working at a film studio right now. Like, I produce music videos and films and short films.
So when you said making films, did you eventually make a film?
I've made a few short films that I'm very proud of. And I've worked on some feature films, like Guardian of the Realm, that I'm very proud of.
That's my film. Now, when you say short films, when you made a film, what are the titles of your short films?
Okay.
And where can we find them?
Okay. One of the things I'm most proudest of, did I say that? Is that right, grammar? Is a short film called Loadout. Loadout? Which was starred Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, the late great.
And this is all on YouTube. And I shot a bunch of shorts I wrote and produced a bunch of shorts for Machinima a while back. They were like little commercials for projects they had coming out. That was super fun. It was a good time. I did a lot of...
Now, you said, can you find these on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll have these linked below the video.
Okay.
Go.
And I also fell into this really interesting role of the behind-the-scenes guy on movies. Because I always loved... Like, when I was growing up, I almost loved the making of movie documentaries more than the movie itself. Like, I love learning about how they make them, what goes on behind the scenes. So I sort of fell into these projects where I was producing these little short films about behind-the-scenes stuff. So, like, I'd get brought on to something like Fallout Nuka Break, the web series.
Now, was that fan-made or was that production?
Fan-made.
That was fan-made.
Fan-made, and it was funded with, like, online funding, GoFundMe, whatever it was.
So so you guys they just said we want to make a thing based on Fallout and we do fan base, and they got money from the fans.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, were you guys, was it just by you made no money from this because it was a fan made film.
Oh yeah, I got paid nothing. And
So let people know this: when you make a fan made film based on something that already has a market value and an audience, that you can do it as long as you don't make a dime from it.
yeah, you don't want to make money off someone else's intellectual property.
Yeah, intellectual properties, and I wanted to bring it up because Star Wars fan films, they're all great, and there's people do it with passion, with the art of portraying something they want to make. You don't make a dime. Just giving you a heads up. All right.
And also, so on that, let me riff on that for 1 second. My experience has also been that making a fan film is typically not a gateway into filmmaking. Like if you want to direct a Marvel film, for example, like if that's your goal, making a Spider-Man fan film is not your first step. Agree?
Agreed. Don't, because what you do, in some polite way, you piss them off.
Yeah.
It just, even if it's good, even if it's really good, then that's even worse.
Yeah.
And you get a huge fan base and get a lot of following
Yeah.
for it, then they'll get really bent.
Like there are some cases where like someone made sort of an indie film that riffed on something and then they went to other things, but it's hard. So that said, I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and what I really enjoyed about it is I was very autonomous. Like it was me and my camera, and at the end of the day I'd dump my footage and start editing together a little 10-minute piece, and I put it online. I had no oversight. I didn't have someone, giving me notes. I was the archetype of the independent filmmaker, because I would just go do my thing, and it was bringing really big value to these productions because it was showing fans, here's what, hey, we're making this movie, here's what's happening. And so I did that on a bunch of things. I did a bunch of behind the scenes series.
Now, did you sell yourself as a behind the scenes guy? Is that how you got it?
I did.
So, and so people went, hey, we should do that. And then, because that, guys, again, you have to understand, when I was growing up, behind the scenes things didn't start happening until the 80s, with the studios in Hollywood got smart and realized, oh wait, people like seeing how things are done. And the answer was like, yes, we did. And it took them so long to finally figure that out, that's what fueled people like myself to see behind the scenes that made me want to do it. And again, when you show behind the scenes, it doesn't destroy the magic, it intrigues you. Sometimes some of the techniques, the easiest ones, are the most mind-boggling ones.
Sure.
And when I was really young, we ended up doing it in my film, Guardian. There's a simple gag called forced perspective, where you put something close to the camera to make it look like it's behind you. And most movies did it. As a kid, grew up in the 80s, 70s and 80s, they would do these models and castles of these elaborate models. They put it in front of the camera, frame it up to where they had the guys riding horseback, and then when you look at the camera, it looked like the castle was on the hill in the background.
And it's so cheap, super affordable.
Super affordable and cheap. It's a
cost-effective.
great trick.
And it looks great, yeah.
And people, that art is dying out because everybody's, just do it in post, just do it digitally.
CGI.
Yeah. All right. I digress. I'm sorry.
No, it's good digression. So I did a lot of behind the scenes, and I found that very satisfying. Like I wasn't writing and directing and producing feature films, but it sort of scratched the itch. It was like, this is super fun. I get to work with everyone on set. And as the behind the scenes guy, let me let you know a little secret. It's the best job to have on set because you can go anywhere, you can talk to anyone, and you get to ask questions. You can go up to a grip and say, hey man, you got your camera rolling. You're like, tell me what you're doing. What is it you do on this production? And they're excited to be interviewed, or pick anyone, the craft service guy, the hair and makeup people. So you can learn so much about filmmaking by being on set and having all that unlimited access, and then you get to produce your own little shorts that then go online and serve as supplemental material to the project. Can
you tell me some of the movies you did behind the scenes on?
Sure. So there was a great series called Aperture R&D, which was it was basically a Portal fan film series.
Right.
There was Fallout Nuka Break season 2. I worked on a feature film called Star Trek Renegades, which was a really cool Star Trek fan film that had like cast members from like Voyager, from original series Star Trek. Got to work with Chekhov.
Oh, nice.
It was super cool. It was really fun working with like a bunch of childhood heroes. And I worked on Star Trek Continues for a couple episodes. I think that about covers it. Yeah.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah, and it's just super fun, and it's like there's not the kind of pressure that you experience like when you're directing a film or producing a film. It's just something that's super fun, great way to learn about filmmaking, and you get to produce all these really fun little films.
The thing is, so when Matt did all this, I met him briefly and did not know he did any of this, and our friendship grew, and I realized, Matt, I should have you on my coffee talk. Now having him on, there's some questions I want to ask him.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're ready, Matt. You had a YouTube channel. Do you still have it?
I do.
What's it called?
I do. It's called the Project Workbench.
Project Workbench, which we'll have below the video.
And I got to tell you, Ted, I love taking credit for things that I didn't do. But I feel like I was a pioneer. Like I started making videos for a website called the RPF. And I had this concept where I wanted to make a video series I called it from concept to collectible. And like I literally started sketching like a Batman grapple gun on a piece of paper. That's how the video series started. And then I walked you through every single step, like building a master, drawing it up in the computer, printing it out, molding, casting, finishing, painting, everything.
Right.
And this is before anyone was really doing this.
It's true, it was.
And I think it turned out great. In fact, I don't even think I finished it. I think that there was no final reveal video. But it was super fun and a great experience. And I think I want to take full credit for everything. But I think some people saw that and they were like, this is really cool. I can do this. And don't get me wrong, like I'm sure none of that's true. But like it was really fun to do. And I love making those videos. So then what I did, and I made those videos for the RPF's YouTube channel. And then I was like, well, I can make my own videos.
Right.
So I started doing videos of my own builds. So like if you go to my YouTube channel, Project Workbench, there's a lot of videos about building my Batmobile. I think there's like 40-something videos, 40 chapters on my Batmobile build, little hand props, costumes I'm working on, all kinds of stuff. Now, nothing as... Like Ted, I think, has really found a great niche where he will walk you through the build. He will teach you how to do it. And where my videos are sort of like, here's a progress update. Here's what I've done the past 2 weeks or something.
Or more like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's some videos. I built a TARDIS, a full-size TARDIS.
Oh, that one, that's great. His TARDIS is impressive, and it gets rented occasionally.
Yeah. It's been in like a bunch of little YouTube videos. It was in a Nerdist commercial. It gets around. Yeah.
I love it. You have it to where you were smart. You built it that we can break down.
Yeah, you have
to build something like that.
It's heavy.
Okay, it's heavy. Matt, you came a long time ago, and he shot a video on me.
Yes.
And
great interview.
It was a lot of fun, and you were talking about YouTube. At that time, I never really thought about it. And I thought about it, and here's the honest truth. At the time, I was way too intimidated because I saw other people, and I saw, I think Bill Duran, I saw his stuff. I'm like, well, this guy already has the market cornered,
right?
But I'll just do something for fun and just do a helmet video. And that was the simplest thing I could think of, and I did it.
And it went...
And it took off from there. And the idea was, because what started me was people were using hot glue. And that's what tipped me over the edge. Was like, okay, I'll make something.
Like, I gotta fix this, man.
I gotta fix the hot glue thing. Well, some people are really good at hot glue, and I just want to show people the contact adhesive approach. And my particular one was barge, but I did it, and it took off, and it was a lot of fun. And I loved that it challenged me because I was always a foam costume builder and foam fabricator. And in my industry, it was being squashed. It was kind of being squashed out because most jobs I worked on were low budget movies making costumes, and
sure.
And then I got a molding casting and it got squashed out.
Sure.
And so then the cosplay thing brought it back for me. But you planted the seed, and I want to say thank you.
I take full credit. I mean, you're welcome. You're welcome. And by the way, the whole interview with Ted is on my YouTube channel.
You guys can check out that over, and you can see how much younger and thinner I was.
And how much fatter I was. Oh my God, I had this giant hair and I was all fat and stuff. By the way, I just want to say someone in the comments section said Project Workbench is how I found out about Ted.
Oh.
Thank you, Ember Project. You're very kind. Yeah, so I interviewed Ted, and I had always known Ted was a very a talkative guy with a lot of great knowledge and stories. And so through the course of these interviews, like we kind of talked about movies Ted worked on. We even talked about, remember that one gag in The Guyver where you like rolled the camera back and pulled the... And Ted was telling me, so this was like 5 years ago.
Ooh.
And then like a year ago, Ted got a text from one of his online buddies, and they were like, Ted, I found this video from 5 years ago where you're talking about the Guyver, and look, I've copied your technique. Here's a video. And
it was so funny. I saw it, and I'm like, that's so cool. And I wrote to him and said, that's neat. How'd you do it? And he went, what? What do you mean? I watched the video of Matt Munson, and you talked about how you did it. And he goes, so I was able to reproduce the, and so the guy shot actually a Guyver unit. It sees it flashing. It disappears. It shoots open. The tentacles come out. And I'm like, that's awesome. And he did exactly.
So good.
He heard, and again, that's the filmmaking technique, guys. Again, by movie standards now, they would do it digitally.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do everything. Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I think digital's amazing. And Planet of the Apes, War of the Apes, those things are amazing. That level is intoxicating to watch. It's so good. But there's techniques you can do as simple as playing the film back. Now with video technology, you just play the video backwards and record it backwards.
Yeah.
There's digital video has made everything so accessible that you can do these really simple tricks in camera and playing things in reverse. And one of my favorite ones was throwing a knife. We had a gag, we threw a knife. I was on another friend's film. We threw a knife across the room and hit this guy in the head. And all it was is the one guy had a knife and he goes like this, and the camera pans. And then we just had an actor with a rubber knife stuck in his head.
Yeah.
And the camera pans into him and he just goes like this.
Oh.
And he just, you get the illusion that it flew across the room and hit him in the head.
Classic.
But you don't see anything going in or going out, which is suggested. And again, simple trick.
Right. Oh,
Good
hi,
stuff.
hi, Bill. By the way, good to see you,
What?
sir. Believe we have Bill Dorn.
Hey, Punish Pop, what's up, everybody?
up?
Guys, thank you.
So yeah, and you know, I think that's another part of that's great about working in the film industry is you learn all this great stuff, and hopefully you can apply it to your own stuff. And if you ever get around to making a film, and you know, it's such a great time to be alive as a filmmaker, because like when I was a kid working with my dad's 8mm camera, like even as a kid there was a giant cost involved. I had to go buy film stock, I had to develop it. I had to get an editor for it. It was a disaster. Now, you know,
Kids,
with your
oh my God, kids can shoot a movie on a
with your-
phone. It's ridiculous.
with your phone and your laptop, you can produce a better film than anyone in human history could have made. I mean, quality-wise, you know, like I don't mean like content-wise, but the technology is so accessible now, and you know, like you can even today you can like rent a red for a couple bucks.
And what is amazing now,
So good.
there's nothing that can stop anybody from making their own film. And the ambition and the drive and the difference, the one thing I want to stress to most people at work, that Matt and I work in the movie industry, is that the one thing the movie industry has against himself is time is money.
Yeah.
So when
Sure.
you're making something or doing anything, we have to do it quickly and fast. And doing that for almost 30 years, you
Yeah.
know, in the prop house and every job I worked on, we had to build stuff. And what happened was, over the years, they want things faster and faster and faster. So by the time I was in my 50s at the shop and we were trying to crank stuff out super fast, just the fun was gone.
Yeah.
But when you're making something for yourself, you don't have to be fast.
Which is why I never finish anything.
But
great.
what is it? You pick targets, you pick get a schedule, set something up. It's good to have a deadline. Don't kill yourself and take forever to build something, but build something to where you're happy with it, you know? And
Sure.
and also deadlines are important though. Don't get too crazy with your time.
Yeah,
But
I
have
think
a
that's true.
set yourself a reasonable deadline for something.
I definitely noticed, and we've talked about this in the past, like with so many parts of the film industry, especially like prop making, costume making, the number one priority is done.
Yeah.
And close after that is on budget.
On budget.
So-
Done and on budget. And the other thing is, sometimes I'll compromise some of the detail on something for me personally just to get it done.
Yeah.
I've had jobs where it was fun in the beginning. I'm like, I want this thing to be done.
Yeah. I've heard stories, I'm not going to name names, but like people be working on a prop, you know, for a movie. This is like going in a feature film that's going to be in the lead actor's hand aiming at the camera. And, you know, you're polishing it up and the lead comes over and they're like, that's good, it's done. And then you say like, well, hold on, I haven't even weathered it. Nope, it's done. It needs to go out today, right now. Yeah, but I just need, nope, out. Time is money, man. And you know, there's production schedules and production budgets. So I think for me, like, there's a degree of frustration in the film industry, and I think that's why I love pursuing my own projects.
Speaking of projects.
Yes, sir. The Project Workbench.
Project Workbench, you guys can catch on Matt Munson channel on YouTube. Links will be below.
Thank you, Ted.
When I met you, you started an ambitious project. And I thought, this is crazy. And years later, I came back and went, Matt, it's still crazy. He is
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
a full-size
Yes.
Batmobile. Now, again, he's building the Michael Keaton one from the very first movie I love. The other Batmobiles, I worked on Batman Forever, the Val Kilmer one. And that Batmobile is the least favorite Batmobile for me of all.
Agreed.
It's like overly designed. It has the engine exposed.
It lights up.
It lights up like it's like
Bro,
a.
did you read the comics?
Yeah, it's like, anyway, it was silly.
Yeah.
And every time I see the Batmobile from the Michael Keaton film, that thing still holds up. It's like a tank. I love that thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Matt got crazy. You loved R2-D2, built that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he moved on, his passion. So how's that Batmobile going, Matt?
Thanks, Ted. Thanks. It's one of my favorite questions. I mean, wait, the opposite. So, funny story. Let me back up and tell you a quick story. So R2-D2, something I always wanted to build.
Yes, okay, R2-D2. Sorry.
No, it's all tied together. No, you've done nothing wrong, Ted. It's your show. I like this sweater, by the way.
Thank you. This is my coffee talk sweater.
So I wanted an R2-D2, and I kept sort of my finger on the pulse of the R2-D2 builder's hobby. I was waiting for it to mature to a point where it was accessible. Because, like, you know, 20 years ago, some dude, like, took a cardboard tube and a salad bowl and painted it, and they were like, R2-D2? And I'm like, no, it's gotta be perfect. So the hobby matured, and I still had the Batmobile in the back of my head, and my little brain said, you know what, if I can do an R2-D2, I'll bet that means I can do a Batmobile. So I sort of looked at the amount of work it would take to do an R2-D2, and I figured it'd be about this much work. And then I thought, surely a Batmobile's probably, about this much work. Okay, so R2-D2, Batmobile. So I built my R2-D2, and it was great because I had to learn so many new skills. I learned how to machine. I hired a journeyman machinist to come in and teach me how to use a mill and a lathe. I learned how to do auto body painting. I learned so many new skills building this R2-D2, and it was like I didn't know how to do a remote control robot. I didn't know how to wire up a tank system. So great experience, had a bunch of great help from some great people. Finished R2-D2, and I was like, and I banged it out in like 3 months.
That is fast.
And at the time, people were taking like 3 to 5 years to build an R2-D2. So I banged this guy out, and I'm like, I'm the guy. I did that really quickly. R2-D2, this much work. Batmobile, this much work. It's go time with the Batmobile.
Can I ask you, how much was R2-D2 really?
No, I think I got R2-D2 right.
So R2-D2 was about this.
R2-D2 about this.
Okay, so can we now with your knowledge of the can we see the Batmobile?
Yeah. So you take your hand and put it over there. Take your right hand, and I'm off the screen. It's a ridiculous amount of work to build a car. It is an unfathomable amount of work to build a car.
What?
Yeah, I know, sorry. Right? Yeah. And honestly, the real deal breaker, the sort of the punchline to this story is, like, for example, to build the Batmobile, I had to learn how to weld. And welding is actually really easy to learn how to do, but it takes a lifetime to get good at it. Like, I could teach anyone who's watching, in about 15 minutes, I could teach you everything you know how to MIG weld.
Okay.
It's easy. It's not that hard. But getting good at it, making good welds that penetrate and that can hold weight and are load bearing. So I'm building this car, and I'm doing welds, and I was like, this is great. I'm building a roll cage, yay. And then like one day I walked by the car and I like kicked it, and like one of the bars on the roll cage just like snapped off because my welds didn't take. And I was like, you know what? What if I'm on the freeway doing 60 miles an hour in my Batmobile, and my crappy welds start popping out? Like, if an R2-D2 has a catastrophic failure, worst case, he stops. Or maybe he lights on fire. That happened to me once. My R2 lit on fire. It's my fault. But like with a Batmobile, you could die. You could kill other people if your Batmobile goes wrong.
So now you realize you had to get a professional welder.
Exactly. Well, even just a professional builder. A couple things fell into place. Like I was like, I don't have the mental fortitude to see a project through to completion that's that big.
So hiring people.
Yeah. It turned out for something that size, just hiring it out, not only for safety, but like, I'm old, I kind of lost steam on it, and it's just, and now I'm like working more, and I realized with the Batmobile, what I really want is the Batmobile. I don't want the journey of building it anymore. Like the skill, like I don't want to learn how to rebuild an engine or replumb a car. Like that originally sounded really appealing to me, but it's so much work. Like R2-D2, learning the machine, awesome. I learned
because you can apply it to other things.
Right, but like, do I really want to learn how to wire a brake system for a Chevy? No, I don't really want to.
Well, I'll tell you what, can I just say something? Your positive aspect is that the drive and the ambition and the dedication that took for you to take on this project, I admire. And I love that Matt has no fear when it comes to building something. At some point, you have to be ready to be afraid and be ready to fail. And by Matt doing this and realizing it would not, if somebody else said, Matt, you know what you're getting yourself into, he was like, no, I'm going to do this. I love the fact that you pushed through and you did do it, and he's still working on it, and he's going to do it.
I'll get there.
You will. Everybody, really quickly, this is a part of the show, we're half hour in, is that we're going to take some questions from our live stream audience.
Has it been a half hour? Ted, you're so captivating. I don't know where does the time go?
So everybody here on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith, also Coffee Talk here with Matt Munson. We're going to take some questions from chat.
Yeah, it says, quick question for Matt. Were you the Ninth Doctor in Topher Day's Day of the Doctor photo shoot? Yes, that was me. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a big Doctor Who cosplayer.
And because he has the TARDIS.
I have a TARDIS. I usually do Ninth Doctor. Like I did Ninth Doctor for a while because I was really overweight for a while, and like Ninth Doctor is just that big jacket. I got a question from Crim VZ. Matt, what would you say is your favorite build to date? It's funny. I have an answer for that, but what I find super rewarding about builds isn't what you'd expect. Like what I really love I love the research. Like I love identifying found parts. Like when you find like that lighter that was used on the ZF-1 from The Fifth Element. Such a huge, yay. And so actually my favorite project so far I would have to say is my Superman Returns costume. And the costume's not finished. But what was so great about it is I met so many great people through it. I got a question from Modulius OT. It says, Matt, where can I follow you? This story of the Batmobile, amazing. Thank you. That's very kind. It's crazy. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Project Workbench.
Project Workbench.
I also have a blog, mattmunson.blogspot.com. It hasn't been updated in a while. It says, Matt, when you talk about research, I love finding things like the salt shakers used in Star Trek 2. Of course, Dr. McCoy's salt shakers. Or the flash stand used for lightsabers. What's the craziest thing you have found out in your research? Excellent question. Gosh, so many things. But I'll tell you my favorite thing, and honestly...
I have my favorite one, too.
It's what I mentioned before, that little torch that's in the ZF-1. And the main reason... I'm going to name drop here, guys. Bill, you're going to like this. The main reason I liked it is... I found this thing, and I posted about it online. I don't even remember... And this dude emailed me. He's like, man, I saw you found that. I'm building a ZF-1 too. Let's collaborate. Let's start working on this together. So I struck up a friendship with this dude. And it was TV's Adam Savage from Mythbusters. And this was before Mythbusters. And I guess it goes back to what I was saying about the Superman Returns thing. You meet so many people by reaching out and saying, hey, can anyone identify this part? Or, hey, I found this part and I want to share the knowledge. And I don't know if that's really a thing anymore. Like, I see a lot of people hoarding knowledge and hoarding skills, which is what makes channels like Bill's and Ted's so... Oh, Bill and Ted. I never really pieced that together. Bill, Doran, Ted Smith.
Okay.
So what makes it so great is they share so much information. They're very giving, and I find that super appealing and awesome. And I guess I'm just a huge advocate of using the hobby, not using it, it's a way to meet people and make friends.
It's a building community. So what was the part you found again?
It's like a little butane torch for doing like creme brulee.
Right, and what was it used for?
It's one of the nozzles on the ZF-1 gun from the Fifth Element.
Oh, the Fifth Element thing in a full
with all the nozzles.
That was
and
an Adam Savage passion project.
Yeah.
If you ever saw one. It was crazy.
And like I was there at the beginning, so it's stuff like that. Like, and I can think of like a million little props. Like there's so many Star Trek props from the newer shows are off the shelf pieces. Like they use these little cabin light boxes for paths, all kinds of little just doodads and tools.
Mine was when I was a kid. I saw Aliens. I was in the theater watching it, and they get down in there and they inform the guys that they have to give them the clips, and they have to use incinerator units only, and they have to surrender their clips. So Vasquez pulls off her belt and surrenders a clip, and it's a rubber dart gun. It's a folding toy. You could, at the time in the 80s, you could buy it at Toys R Us, and it's a little black thing you fold. It's a collapsible gun. It opens up, and you put little rubber bullets and squeeze it. They didn't change anything on it. They took one handle off, took one handle, and stuck a pin on it, and that was it, and painted it black. That was it. So we're sitting in the theater, and they take it out, and Vasquez takes it and hands it to, and my friend and I were in the theater like, that's the
toy
that's the Nerf toy. I own that.
Yeah.
And to this day, people in cosplay, there's guys that have them, got them, mold them, and cast them, and sell replicas of those. I laugh. I still have my folded, mine still functions as a dart gun.
Yeah.
Because I'm old, so I bought that stuff.
Right.
In '84, when the movie came out, I had that toy. So that was the part I recognized that I actually have.
All right, we got a question from Only Alley Cat, but it's not Alley, it's Steve. What's up, bro? Steve says, since you nailed the R2 build, have you thought about building an old school K9, fully functional, of course? Yeah, I actually have, and the K9 build is actually a very easy build. And it's well documented. There's kits you can buy. There's patterns you can download.
As a matter of fact, I saw a guy and build one out of foam. He actually made a foam one.
Yeah, and it's like, the answer to your question is yes. However, with the Batmobile remaining unfinished and my other pile of projects that are 3/4 finished. Oh, Ted, I want to tell your audience a story.
Oh, okay. I'm already scared, but go ahead.
It involves so I worked on Ted's movie Guardian of the Realm. What was that, 20 years ago, 15 years ago?
No, it's more. It's like 20.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Great thing about getting old, kids, is it all blurs together. so I'm working. So I talked to Ted, and Ted's like, "Oh, you make props." I showed him. In fact, I had a little multi-pass that I had built, and Ted's like, "This is great. I have some props you can make for my movie." And so Ted says, one of the props I need is some sort of little data disk. There's like a scene in the movie where the girl comes into the headquarters and she's like, "Here's all my research. Put it into the computer." And it's some sort of data disk. And I was like, this is great. I'll get to be creative. And so I had these little pieces of scrap styrene that were actually Corbin Dallas's apartment from The Fifth Element. And I was like, this would be great. I'll make a little Fifth Element homage. So I took this little piece of styrene. I like put like a piece of ribbed styrene on the back, and I painted it and I weathered it. And I was like, I'm going to blow everyone's mind. I made a little sticker for it that said 64 gigabytes. Because at the time, like, we were still on like 1.4 megabyte floppies
at the time.
So like a 64 gigabyte thing, it was the future is now. And so I made this prop and I gave it to Ted, and I was like, I was so happy. I like made 2 of them in case one got dropped or broken. And I was like, this is my first prop. And I you know, in my head, I'm imagining the tight shot of them handing the chip to the other person and doing like here's my 64 gigabyte chip with all my data. I was super excited. I'm like, and then I'll get like a title card at the end, and it's gonna say prop made by Matt Munson, and people are gonna be calling me. So I see the movie, and like, and the girl walks into the thing, and it's like, okay, so this is about twice the size of the thing, and she's like, here's the thing, and then someone takes it. It's like she could have been handing them like a quarter or a nickel or something.
To your defense, Matt, I did shoot a close-up of it, but it just didn't really need to be in there. We shot it.
Hollywood heartbreak. Yeah. But no, it literally looks like she's doing like a magician's palming of the thing. Starting new build that intimidates you because it's techniques you've never done before. How do you get started? That is an excellent question. And I have a ridiculous answer for you.
I like it. Here you go. Let's see it.
I'm going to give you 2 answers. Like back in the day, like I remember going to the bookstore, like Barnes & Noble, and I would buy a book on how to do something. Like when I wanted to learn how to weld, I bought a book. But then I hired someone to show me how to do it. But the kicker is, man, everything's on YouTube
Everything
nowadays.
is now. You can learn everything. I have a trippy shower head, and normally when I spend $120 have a plumber come install it, I bought it. I was intimidated. Like, what am I going to do? I got on YouTube. There was a guy. It showed me how to install that particular shower head.
Yeah.
And I did it, and it worked great. I'm thinking, and that's what's like, why am I not making YouTube videos? So
I've done repairs on my car. Like you just type in the problem and the model make of your car, and there's probably 5 videos of some dude showing you how to do it.
And I've always found when I bought the shower head, I watched maybe 3 or 4 videos of somebody doing that, and I found the best one because someone wasn't shot as well, wasn't nicely lit, and this one guy was really consistent with his videos. They're really good. So I found the shower head I was looking for, and then watched his video.
Can you explain what a Barnes & Noble is and how... Well, back in the day...
There was a huge bookstore.
It was weird. No, it was weird. And in fact, it's actually weird talking about it.
It went away like that. There was a huge one on Sunset, and it's just gone.
You had to... If you wanted to learn something, you had to get into your car, drive to a place, get out of your car, go into the place, and then maybe you talk to someone there who has no idea what they're doing, and they'll kind of point to where you might go, and then it sounds ridiculous thinking about it. Then you would like climb some stairs and go to a shelf and then start looking at things, and then you'd have to buy a couple, pay money for knowledge, and then you would take them home and read them.
Yeah, that's
how is that still a thing?
Speaking of books, I bought Kamui's cosplay book.
Oh yeah, her new beginning?
No, it's electronics on LEDs.
Oh, okay.
I got the one on LEDs because I'm going to start. I'm fangirling a little bit. The Cyberpunk 2077 just got released. They're not released yet, but they got some trailers and teasers for it.
Yeah.
I love Cyberpunk. I love Alita Battle Angel. I love the whole concept of cyber technology and half man, half machine thing. And all the cyberpunk stuff I've always dug, even back in the 80s, and it's coming back around again with this video game. So I want to get into some cyber cosplay stuff, but it's going to involve some lights. So I got to educate myself on some LEDs. So.
I'm a huge fan of Svetlana and Benny, and their work is amazing.
Yes, they
and
are.
Their books are great. There's a new book coming out soon. Their Instagram's great, and these comments are amazing. By the
way, really quickly, Bill Dren has a book he's making. Rumor has it, that's on helmets. It's just a book on helmets. And
You have my attention.
So I'm curious if that book is close to being out or is it coming up soon?
That was a question for you.
Oh.
Hey Ted, we should do a co-op
Oh
for
my
Cyberpunk
God.
costume.
Art Court in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, Art Court. If there's something we can collaborate, how about this? If there's a Germany con I'm going to be at and you're going to be at, we'll collaborate and we'll build Cyberpunk outfits together. We'll wear something in the theme. That'd be awesome.
Bill says soon. Yeah, someone
Oh,
asked
soon.
Someone asked what's a Toys R Us? Yeah, crazy thing.
I'd love to. Yeah, they're gone. Boom, gone. Bill and they swooped up and they got a speeder. They got the kids, the Luke.
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
They were smart. It was on sale. They went, Toys R Us is going out of business. Quickly, we're gonna get a speeder.
Oh yeah, Monty's talking about fanzines. Remember those? Fanzines are great. I don't know how many folks listening. That was like an underground magazine.
Yes.
Published by fans.
Yes.
And, sometimes it was just like a photocopied thing that was stapled in a corner. Sometimes they were a little more high tech, and yeah, that was also a great place to go for builders. But yeah, so the punchline to the question that Ali / Steve asked is YouTube's where to go, man. I love it.
But again, guys, I can't tell you how happy I am to go back to Germany again. It's super exciting. I'm pumped. People always, once I go to a con, they keep people. Oh, you should go to this con. I always tell people, if there's a con that you guys want me at, you got to write to them and let them know that you want me there because I don't do this out of my pocket. They bring me.
You start a letter writing campaign.
It
saved Star Trek. It got Remington Steele a season 4.
It did. And that was back in the days when it worked. That was the days when I actually
Hey man,
worked.
Lucifer got saved by an email campaign. Like it's on. I mean the show.
Because what his networks don't, guys. Here's the sad thing with Hollywood networks is that they're not the outside looking in. They're in the inside looking out. So they have no idea of the fan base, how much people love stuff. Because they're producers. They're not smart people.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
They're just producers.
So what is it? When are you going to Canada, Ted? When's your next Canada trip?
Oh, Canada! Here's the thing. Can't announce it yet. We haven't signed the contract, but it's the end. It's around the end of the month of October. It's around the end, and I'm wheeling and dealing. Once we get the green light, I'll post and let people know that I'm going. But I've not done it yet.
Allie, don't you want to know when I'm going to Canada? I mean, chopped liver here? Nah, I'm not going to Canada. Like I might go to Carlsbad or something, but okay. Oh, someone's already working on a letter campaign. The owners of that Geekdom. Okay, cool.
For what? For what are they trying to save?
They're trying to get you out to the East Coast.
Oh, fantastic! I would love the East Coast. I love East Coast. I haven't been out in a while, but I would love to go. Thank you, guys. Thank you,
guys. Hey, Ted, can we do a future episode of Coffee Talk from inside my Batmobile?
That would be awesome. Hey, guys, this is getting the point to the show. We're going to wrap things up.
Madness has gone.
It's gone madness because we're like minutes away from the striking hour again. I'm like, guys, again, thank you everybody who come up. There's people who came to subscribe. I want to say thank you so much for people who subscribed to my channel. Unfortunately, I turned my alerts off.
I will be at Gallifrey 1 next year, by the way. Thank you. I'll see you there. Come up and say hi.
Everybody, really quick, this is the time on Coffee Talk where we wrap things up. I want to say nice to my friend Matt Munson. Matt, I have some questions for you.
Yes.
At a movie theater, is it? Do you prefer the movie experience on a theater or DVD?
That's a great question. I got to tell you, I get real. I don't like seeing movies in theaters because kids are on their phones. These kids today, get off my lawn! Like they're on their phone. People talk. Like I was in a movie a couple weeks ago. A person behind me took a call on their phone, and they were like, "No, I'm fine. I can talk. What's up?" And I turn back and I give them the stink eye, and they wave at me. And I'm like...
Okay, again, there's a thing called the arc light, and you pay a little bit extra, and it's serious. And you'd be like, I gotta kick them out. So, I love movie theater experience. I still do. I'll go for it. All right, another question for you.
Yeah.
Eat breakfast or skip breakfast?
That's a great question. I do not believe breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I occasionally do intermittent fasting.
So you skip?
I would say in general I skip.
Okay. Another question.
These are hard-hitting.
These are hard-hitting questions. 15 minutes early or 15 minutes late?
Early. Always. I hate being late. I don't mind if someone else is late, but I hate it.
Okay. Window seat or aisle seat?
That's another great question. You know, I'm a tall gentleman. I'm 6'3", so I think my short answer is I'm going to go off-piste and say emergency exit row anywhere.
All right.
Because my thing is my legs; they just don't fit.
Okay. Last but not least, coffee or tea?
Gosh, I don't like either of them.
Boo.
By the way, someone asked about where you can find me on social media. You can
Yes.
go to youtube.com/the Project Workbench, or another channel is Matt Munson Fit. That's my weight loss channel. You can find me on Instagram at Matt Munson Fit. But most of that's like fitness stuff. All my nerdy stuff
Matter of fact, guys,
on Project Workbench.
everything social media for Matt will be listed below the video here on YouTube. Again, everybody, if this is your first time watching, please subscribe to this channel because it's not partnered with YouTube yet because I need at least to have 1,000 followers on my Coffee Talk. Not there yet. We're getting there. So please, if you like watching this, guys, please subscribe. Tell your friends about Coffee Talk. I have other interviews, people, and I have more coming.
And write to Ted and tell him how you want Matt Munson back on Coffee Talk, because you got so many other questions.
All right, guys. Everybody, thank you so much for Coffee Talk.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Keep in touch. Adios. See you at BlunderCon or Comic Con.
Bye.
Bye.